This is Hidden Killers Live with Tony Bruschi, Stacey Cole, and Todd Michaels.
Yeah, all roads lead to narcissism, as we say. This program.
There you go. There's the drop the mic. All roads lead to narcissism. All bad shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Yeah.
It feels like we need some hobbies. Have we lost
other than
minds?
this? Yeah. Yes, I mean, it comes down to you're right. I mean, no problem solving skills, and I think having a hobby does not mean getting super amped up and angry about something online. That's not a hobby.
No.
That's not healthy. Either. And no matter what it is, one may be getting angry. And what I want to ask you about with this, because this is someone who obviously got angry enough about something that they didn't like about Charlie Kirk, and acted. We're seeing this so easily happening right now with so many people. I've seen so many messages in the last 2 or 3 days, like literally like text messages and things like that from people or listeners sending me pictures, accounts of, I have a family member over here that feels so angry right now this way or that way. And rightfully so. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being very angry and very upset about this. This whole, I mean, I haven't slept well the last couple of days. This has been very stressful mentally, but people are very angry and very upset for different reasons. And I feel like so many don't have a healthy venue on how to release that anymore. And it seems so many, with the lack of problem solving skills, want to go out there and hurt someone or hurt something. And I think a lot of people don't even know exactly what that is or what that means at this moment in time. But that rage is there, and that rage is overriding a lot of people's common sense right now. And that's where I think it's so dangerous as to where we're at this second in time.
Yeah, if you find yourself in that situation, again, not a licensed mental health professional by any means, but if you find yourself in those situations or know someone in those situations, the first thing you need to do is get out, touch some grass, and go for a walk. Do something healthy. Read something healthy. Yeah. We are what we consume, and if we consume unhealthy things, you're going to be unhealthy, and that doesn't matter whether you ingest it through your mouth or you take it in through your ears. Mm-hmm. It has the same exact effect on our brain. You know, there's a great book out there by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Body Keeps a Score. And the things that we ingest affects us massively. You know, just for example, we go on sidetrack sometimes, don't we?
That's good. That's good. We need it. See, we need it.
The Tao Te Ching sits next to me all day long.
Yep.
This other book I absolutely loved. I've quoted numerous times. Who Will Cry When You Die? You know, and for, you know, I've seen some really horrendous things that like we all have with people posting about the death of a father and a husband, and how they've said, and even when they're not trying to say vile things, they're saying things in a way that made me think, geez, I hope no one ever says that about me when I die. Mm-hmm. You know, so everyone take a deep breath, take a pause, and ask yourself, you know, what we're doing, is it creating a healthy, strong relationship or not? I mean, we are literally put on this sphere. We're on this sphere, whether we're put here or not, whatever belief system, you know, we're on this sphere to learn and interact in a healthy way, because all the problems that are facing us as a species cannot be solved alone. It can only be solved with healthy, strong relationships. I know it's my mantra that I keep going back to. But when doing so, in order to do so, we have to understand the people around us. We have to understand what drives them, what motivates them. And to your point, to get a healthy to get a healthy hobby, first you got to get outside the echo chamber of negativity. Mm-hmm. It is the hardest thing. You know, half the species can be broken down into wound collecting victims, and the other half is problem solvers. If you find yourself or know someone that is struggling because they're surrounding themselves and see themselves being victimized, and they see themselves as the world's against them, or you feel yourself your way, I'm not arguing with your context. Your context is what it is. What I challenge you to do is talk to someone who doesn't think that way. It's going to annoy the living piss out of you, because being around someone positive when you're not will annoy you.
Yes.
I know. And you know why I know? I'm one of those positive people. I've been told, Robbie, you're annoying the hell out of me. But here's what's going to do. The leakage of that positive frame of mind, it's not like it's just like everything. This isn't going from 0 to 100, from unhealthy to healthy. you're going to start the data points when you're going to start moving that rudder of the ship, and you're going to go from 0 to like 1 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour, and you're going to start shifting. And this is just assessing, with hopefully a good loving critic in your life, who and what are the healthy things in my life and who or what are the unhealthy. And now granted, in some of our cases, if we eliminate all the unhealthy, we might be left with nothing today. And that's okay for now, in the moment, because then we can go, and there are healthy online things.
Yes.
We talk about cases here, which can be very dark and horrible, but we Mr. Positive, I will always find what we can do about it. We always talk about that. This is what we can do to move forward from this. This is what we can do to see healthier things, the glass half full thing. So there's ways that we can do that. And that's why I think it is a watershed moment. We can either continue down the path of crazy and keep predictable things that we're seeing in all these cases, or we're going to start seeing a better trend. Wouldn't that be great? We actually get these cases when they pop up. They'll keep popping up. We're a species that keeps doing these things, but we're going to start seeing resolutions faster. Because what keeps things moving faster? How do crimes get resolved faster? When healthy people are working them. When healthy people are around the bad guy. When healthy people are working law enforcement. When we don't have things like Delphi, where we're constantly questioning, what the hell was that? Or in the Karen Reed case, guilty and not guilty, I don't care. The law enforcement people up there were abysmal. So when we can start getting rid of that, things might start getting a little bit more positive. Anyway.
Well, what I found interesting too about this account, and I have it here in front of me. This was actually said at the presser today. Quote, investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson's who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident at which Robinson came to dinner prior to the September 10th attack. And in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about what they didn't, or why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. That's the quote that was in the presser today. What my point on that is, we tend to, because we're very tribal and more tribal than ever before, when someone expresses their viewpoint on something, if it's not necessarily aligned with yours, a lot of times there's not a lot of inquisitiveness that goes on to the other side. It's just okay, see you later. I'm going to go over here and go back to my echo chamber. And I know that that's over there, but I don't even want to have a dialogue. I don't want to understand why you feel this way. And they don't want to understand why you feel that way. Back and forth. It goes completely both ways in whatever opinion anyone has. And it happens in families. As we have so many families where it's like this. It happens with friend groups. There's so many polarization things where people are breaking away from each other because of the opinions that we have. We can't seem to figure out a way to hear each other. If we could do more of that in our own lives, of hearing each other's opinions and maybe temping that down and realizing, I don't have to hate the other person over here for having a different viewpoint on something. I feel like there's a whole culture a whole generation rather, that's been brought up where that is the culture. This guy's 22 years old. I would say most of his life, our culture has been so tribal that in no way, shape, or form is I'm making any sort of an excuse for a man like this. But I'm telling you, you have a generation of people that are extremely tribal that are coming into their own now. And it's scary, but I think you are going to have a lot more of this where it is so ingrained in people of being, this is my side, and this is the only way. I think stronger than we've seen in any generation.
And they don't know any different at this time. This is all they've known for probably the last, I would say, 10 years. Dare I say 10 years?
Been born, really. So since they can remember life. I mean, this is a 22-year-old. This is a kid, basically.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so, like I was saying, it feels like this way of thinking of this way or that way. It is diametrically, maybe that's the wrong word here, but it is so ingrained in some of these young people. I don't know how you turn it around, because this is just how they've been conditioned. Not everybody, but a good deal, and it's not always on extreme political things. It can be on almost anything.
So, as a species, we're always going to be tribal.
Yeah.
We're genetically coded for. We evolved as a species because of our tribalism. We also evolved because of our ability, as Noah Harari says in Sapiens, because we had the ability to gossip and tell stories. And it's going to make us tribal, and that's okay. But, we've always been tribal. We're always going to be tribal. We're not going to get rid of the tribalism. What's currently missing, and this is where people, and I'll say people like Charlie, because Bill Maher does this exactly the same thing. I think those are two of my favorite people, not because I agree with them, but because of how they engage. And what they do is this: we fail and we fall into these traps when we lack curiosity. That's it. One of the greatest human beings that I speak about frequently, because he's a great example of, I've never met a human being yet. And for those watching and listening, ask yourself this: have you heard of the word and the man, Leonardo da Vinci?
Yes.
Yes.
He's a mutant ninja turtle, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But when you think about, now I do these deep thought process, and as Tony gave me a great compliment the other day, just being a historical guy. So then ask yourself, when I was reading his biography, I was like, why does everyone know the name Leonardo da Vinci? And why do you hear nothing negative about Leonardo da Vinci? Think about it. So here's a man who was gay in the 1400s. In his country at the time, because it was constantly fluctuating. You talk about violence against man. He lived in it. It was illegal to be gay. You'd be stoned for being gay. He was accused of being gay 2 to 3 times, of having sodomy with another man. Acquitted each time. You know why? Healthy, strong relationships. Based upon what? He was actively, non-judgmentally curious. He didn't judge you. He wanted to understand you. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Charlie, and again, people like Charlie, because there's a lot of people like this, was modeling this way of, hey, here's my belief system. And instead of just absorbing what I'm seeing in a 5-second highlight reel on TikTok of what I believe and then just regurgitating rhetoric, he understood very, very clearly and could articulate very, very clearly what he stood for. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of religion in there. There's a lot of things in there. And a lot of people aren't going to understand that or agree with that. But here's what. Now you understand him. Mm-hmm. And so all he was doing with other people was, as you spewed rhetoric at him, he would ask you discovery questions. Articulate why you believe in that. And what was happening was, some people could, most people couldn't. Because he forced people to think and understand, here's who my tribe is. And I think people like Tony and Bill Maher, Kirk and Bill Maher, where all they're doing is have people do a deep thought process of understanding who you are and why you believe what you believe. And then that's your tribe. Yeah. And now you can be curious about the other tribes and see where you align. And here's where we all align. Mm-hmm. We all want a better place for our offspring, for our families and friends, for those that we leave behind after us. Yeah. And so that's what I think was really amazing. That's missing in this tribalism is when people lose curiosity, that's when it goes downhill.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.